Hi, I'm Jack Gately, owner of Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy, plus the Broker School online. So today, a quick video for you on how to enter in a apartment listing to the MLSPIN network. MLSPIN, which is the MLS that dominates Massachusetts, roughly speaking, maybe covers 80% of the state, plus or minus. If you are also entering a listing in the greater Boston area for an apartment, highly likely you might want to be interested in speaking and making this video in late 2018 in a network which is separate from the MLS PIN, and that's called You Got Listings. You Got Listings. So check with your broker at your agency if your agency is a member of the You Got Listings network, and if you are, you also might want to enter your listing into the You Got Listings network as well. All right, so MLS PIN, if you don't know how to get into your MLS PIN account, you might want to check out my video, Getting Started with MLS PIN, also on this channel. But nonetheless, log into your MLS PIN account, and there we go. Boom. Fantastic. Up at the top, you want to click Listings. Very good there. And New Listing. Pretty straightforward. It defaults to a single family listing. And just put the drop-down menu there and click Rental. And then you're probably going to want to identify yourself somewhere on this list here, and maybe yourself on this other team member list here. Your list price, that's what you're going to want to rent your apartment for, so we'll just say $1,800. And then you're going to consult with your listing agreement for the list date. Those should be pretty much the same. And also with your listing agreement of how long your listing goes. Let's just say to the end of February. What type of listing do you have? Highly likely you have an exclusive right to rent. An exclusive right to rent. Now, if you are sharing the listing with another agency or multiple agencies, then you will not be able to post your listing to the MLS PIN. This is only for people who have an exclusive right to rent. If you're sharing your listing, as is common in the greater Boston area, then you want to post your listing exclusively over at You Got Listings. That feed typically anyways comes from the landlords anyways, but just remember that if you're sharing a listing, it must stay on YGL. If you have an exclusive right to rent, then you can post it on the MLS PIN. Cooperating commission. Very, very important. Cooperating commission. Is the landlord paying any of the commission, and are you sharing that with the other agent? So here I'm going to say, in this particular case, 50%. That means that whatever the fee is going to be, I'm going to split that with the other agency 50%. Now, there's always a fee in renting an apartment. It's just a matter of who pays it. In this particular case, I'm actually going to write up this listing with the tenant paying the fee. So we'll just pick your basic information here. We'll just say 12 Maple Avenue, and you can write in anything here. We don't necessarily need to fill all this in for you. I think you already know how to type in your basic street address and whatnot. Grade school, middle school, I definitely include that. Directions, that's pretty straightforward. Showing instructions. Now, I'm a big believer in listing security and making sure that you know exactly who's getting into this listing. So I would give precise showing instructions. Some agents like to be text, some agents like email. It is really whatever works for you. I prefer an email from the corporate email address, whatever works for you. That's my preference. I always tell my agents and any agent I come across that I avoid texting. Texting is not archivable, it's not searchable, and you really don't know who you're texting. So my strong recommendation would be to have an email from a corporate email address so that you can confirm their identity and or ask for their MLS PIN membership number or their license number. All right, so down here you continue on. A type of rental, let's just say it's an apartment. And for sale is that means is the actual property not only for lease but also for sale. Typically that's going to be a no. Last month required. Yes, we'll write this up as last month's. Is the tenant going to need insurance like homeowners insurance or rental insurance? We'll say yes. Security deposit. We'll say yes. How much is the security deposit? 1 month's rent, $1,800. Is it year round? Yes. References required. I always write yes. Is there an association? No. How long are the lease terms? Year. I just usually write the word year and then 12 months here. Date available. Let's just pick a date. Whatever date it happens to be available, we'll say it's available on New Year's Day. List brokerage fee required from tenant. Ooh, that's important. So in this listing, as I said, the tenant is going to pay the fee, which we're going to split 50-50 with the other agency. So I'm going to not only say list brokerage fee required from tenant, yes, and then I'm going to actually tell them how much it is, which is $1,800. So in this case here, the way I have this apartment set up, they're going to have to come up with the last month's rent, the first month's rent, obviously, the security deposit, and the brokerage fee. Yes, folks, that is 4 months rent. 4 months rent times $1,800. So I'm pretty sure you can do the math on that. I'm actually grabbing my calculator as I make today's video. That's $7,200 in order to get into this apartment. $7,200 to get into this apartment. Rental terms, lease, pets allowed. Remember, you can discriminate based upon a pet. A pet is not a protected class. A pet is different than a certified service animal. And I'm just going to say no pets. Unit level, that's pretty simple. You know, what level on the building it is, approximately lot size. You can dig that up from the public record of the property as a general. If you don't know, it seems widespread to type in 9999. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, and I would try to stay away from that. But that there seems like a widespread practice. If you don't know, just type in 999. Approximate living area, that you should definitely have a better grasp of. Get your measuring tape out if you don't know for sure. Let's just say in this apartment here, we'll say it's 1,000 square feet. Living space source, we'll say that comes from the owner. And year built, 1965. Okay. Year built, we'll probably say that comes from the owner as well. Building description, rent. This is important. Is it going to include anything? Heat, hot water, electric. Now, highly likely it's going to include water. Highly likely it's going to include water. Highly likely it's going to include sewage disposal. But you might have some really unusual listings, like especially some type of exotic vacation rental or something that wouldn't. But, you know, mostly always you're going to include those two things. There's some spaces over here from parking. Just spend a little time on this little section. Each apartment is going to be different. Area amenities as well, going to be different for everybody. Waterfront, no, not for $1,800. Water view, no. Proximate to the beach, we'll leave unspecified, probably not near the beach either. Unit facing direction. I have a really good sense of direction. So I almost always know which direction it faces, but if you're not sure, just go with unspecified. Association pool, you know, like if it happens to have a pool, then answer that. Exterior features, those are all pretty much similar there. Fireplaces, 0. Parking spaces. Now for a rental, you definitely want to focus on this because parking at a rental can get a little bit touchy. So you don't want to overpromise on this. We'll say that this has just 1 parking spot. If it has air conditioning, great. Let them know that they're really going to want to know that, especially in the summer. So yes, this one has an air conditioning. Then there's a significant number of descriptions thereafter. Don't forget, it's very important to be accurate with the heat source. So if it's electric or oil or gas, you're probably only going to check one of those boxes, but that, especially if the tenant is paying for the heat, what type of heat source, it really matters. Interior building features, you can fill those out. Appliances, almost all your rentals are going to come with a range, and most often a dishwasher. Just fill these in as applicable. Refrigerator, freezer, washer, dryer, let's just say that it has it in unit, which would be lovely. Then your room numbers, that's pretty easy. We'll say it's a 5-room, 2-bedroom, 1 full bath apartment. That was easy. This next section, room, living room, and the sizes, some people fill that in, especially when you head up on the upper end of listings. A lot of your basic listings, they skip it. For $1,800, I'm probably going to skip it. Then I'm going to move down to the very, very important section on lead paint. Yes, certified, treated, unknown, or none are our 4 options. As you can see, it's in red. You literally cannot post your listing to the MLS PIN without answering this question. I would actually prefer that they change the language here and say compliant. That would be the more accurate language. But if you want to say that it's de-leaded, which is actually not a phrase that you should use the word compliance. You would check certified treated. And so let's today treat this listing as having been de-leaded. Now remember, we said it was built in 1965, which is clearly a property built before 1978. And consequently, we're going to have one of these 2 boxes here. Unfortunately, most of your properties owners, they check unknown. I don't know if it's de-leaded. That's some old paint, but I don't know if it's leaded. I don't know anything. Now, if they have de-leaded or had certified treated or brought into compliance, then they'll check this upper box. So let's pretend on this particular $1,800 listing that it has been certified, treated, and brought into compliance. Seller's disclosure. That's almost always no. That's pretty simple. Public remarks. This is where you're going to write in, cozy 2-bedroom and all that great description there. Firm remarks. These firm remarks are going to be only available to the members of the MLS PIN, so your fellow real estate professionals. This is usually where I copy and paste the special showing instructions. I put those here as well. You remember that we had the special showing instructions up earlier in the listing? I usually just copy and paste them and put them in here. So again, whether you like to be text messaged or emailed or called or include your license number, whatever it happens to be, I put this information here. Once again, I try to steer you away from the text messaging. I don't want to sound like an old-fashioned person, but hey, I text message all day, dozens and dozens of people, but for showings and for security, I think it's much better to have a email record. Well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Once again, if you have a listing that you want to put up in the greater Boston area, you should probably also considering putting it on the You Got Listings network. My name's Jack Gately from Jack Gately Real Estate, the Online Real Estate Academy, and Broker School Online. Thanks very much and have a profitable day. Bye-bye.